But more importantly, as I said, it didn't take us long to realize that we needed to prepare ourselves to save lives because there is human misery going on in our deserts. And you know what? I can document every one of those 332 life-saving rescues because we used our #1 insurance tool, the #1 tool of any Minuteman to protect ourselves from false accusations, is the video camera. That's why nobody can ever bring false claims against us. You show me a victim, I'll show you the video. There wasn't a victim. Victims are the ones being forced into the desert to seek opportunity. We vowed to report to authorities. Again, it's absurd, these claims of improprieties along the border. We promised to raise our voices. We have done that. We are lobbying in Washington, D.C. We are lobbying our state capitals across this country. We are lobbying our city councils and our law enforcement. Everyone needs to work together to fix this problem. Okay? In fact, Minutemen have no arrest powers, do not detain any persons. We do not take the law into our own hands. And man, I tell you, we're in serious trouble when the day comes when a U.S. citizen can't sit in a lawn chair with a pair of binoculars on U.S. soil. Regardless of the unsubstantiated accusations that illegal aliens have been hunted down or harmed by Minutemen on the border, no volunteer from CDC has ever harmed or abused any human being. I wouldn't be standing here if that were true. Because remember, the U.S. government's enemy #1. The U.S. government don't like citizens who expose their incompetence, which is really our mission. The U.S. government, using the IRS, has scrutinized our finances, has scrutinized everything we've done, have tapped our phones, have followed us, have videotaped us. You know what they found? Nothing but hard-working citizens who were smarter than they were to figure out how to do this job and to expose them. The U.S. government is the first group that would want to put us out of business because they don't like us showing them up. But that's our duty as U.S. Our phones have followed us, have videotaped us. You know what they found? Nothing but hard-working citizens who were smarter than they were to figure out how to do this job and to expose them. The U.S. government is the first group that would want to put us out of business because they don't like us showing them up. But that's our duty as U.S. citizens. We have maritime coastal patrols along upstate New York. Our volunteers, our vigilant volunteers there in New York, have turned over and reported boatloads full of people coming from the Middle East and China across our northern border. We've got equipment, radio equipment, we're well-trained, well-regulated. First aid, CPR, these are our search and rescue operations. We work with Border Patrol and law enforcement again to go out and save those lives. It's brutal out there. We should add one more to this. We saved another person this past weekend. 332 life-saving rescues. We provide medical attention. This is a young couple that we found back in June of last year. They would have died without our assistance. One of them, the taxpayers ended up paying for their excellent medical care as we protected, that person this young lady spent 2 weeks in the hospital recovering. But she was subsequently deported back to her country of origin. Unfortunately, many folks are not so lucky. And if it's hateful, and if people, and your instructors and people in the community say it's hateful for us to go out and save lives, I think you need to question their integrity. Because these people wouldn't be dying. And we prevented those deaths. And I invite you to come out and help us. If you care about the migrants, and you care about those immigrating to this country, come out to the desert and help us save lives. Because it's going to be a whole lot more productive standing on street corners calling each other names. Or fomenting an atmosphere of hate in classrooms based on ignorance, based on untruths, based on defaming people with no regard. Okay. The environmental damage is unbelievable. I'll talk to you, I'll briefly go around that. We've cleaned up millions of pounds of trash. The environmental damage, and this is a group with border links. This is a group from Portland that came down and saw for themselves. We'll take you into these layup areas. We'll show you the trails. We'll take you with search and rescue operations, and you can ride along and help save a life and clean up trash and see this problem. There are a lot of environmentalists as well who talk about the fact that we should have open borders. And as I referred to earlier, you know, the United States is very much a desirable destination. And imagine what would happen environmentally if we threw up our borders tomorrow and said, come on, come on. I love the environment. I'm an avid outdoors person, but I am disgusted with what our natural areas look like down here. Okay? What would happen if we threw our borders open tomorrow and just allowed the world to come to America? How would we feed them? Where would we get the water? How would we house them? How many more cars would be on the streets? How many more of our natural resources would have to be used to support those folks? Sustainable development. I know a lot of you study that problem in your classes. We've got only so much room, and we have to have an ordered system to bring people in. This is cleaning up. We removed 80 40-gallon bags of trash in this one layup area back in March. This is what's left behind in the wake of folks coming in. We're working, like I said, on legislation. We've got anti-American virulent hate groups alive and well on college campuses, unfortunately. It's incredible. This anti-American, anti-European, anti-African bigotry is taking root in high schools and university campuses. We've got high school students in Los Angeles now rioting and fighting each other based on ethnicity and fighting for jobs and economic opportunities. People showing blatant contempt for the United States of America, unfortunately. I want to talk really quickly about, I'm going to skim over because unfortunately we don't have enough time. This would be an entire course that could be taught, that should be taught. What are the solutions? And I'm anxious to hear your ideas about solutions. Border security comes first, no matter what. We have to stop the bleeding. We have to stop the deaths. We have to put the drug cartels out of business. How are we going to do that? An executive order by a commander-in-chief that works for the American people declaring a national emergency, deploying 25,000 National Guard and military personnel to the southern border, the northern border. Okay? We complete that fence, unfortunately, and we work with Mexico to put these organizations out of business. That's a pragmatic step. We ensure rapid, robust border patrol deployment. No-nonsense workplace enforcement. That means holding the employers accountable too. In Arizona, we've done that. It is now, you have two chances. If you're caught knowingly hiring illegal aliens, you get fined, your business is shut down for 10 days. If you're caught again, you can pack up your business and leave the state. Unemployment in Arizona since we enacted this law has already gone down to 4%. We want workplace enforcement. We want de facto automatic birthright citizenship. Because that is the second main attraction and draw to this country. You come here, you're welcome, but if you show blatant contempt for the purpose of anchoring yourself in this country, and the 14th Amendment does not give you that privilege, we need to end that. And we need to have Congress decide that they're actually going to enforce the Constitution. In fact, I encourage you in the fall, perhaps you can have mock constitutional conventions and debate the 14th Amendment. Well, that would be something productive that would then put Congress on notice that they have failed again. You can help with that. Okay? So, I'm being told we have to finish, and I do want to do the Q&A. But that's who we are, that's what we do. And these are our only solutions to the problem right now, to stop it. Then we can figure out how, perhaps, as an altruistic country, how we can help the people in Mexico who would much rather stay home, how we can help the people through Latin America understand how to force their government to provide them opportunities so they don't have to be forced to separate from their families. They're not forced into a dangerous situation, and they can enjoy life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness in their native lands. I thank you very much.
introduce Professor Charles Strang, the Department of Religious Studies, who's going to give a scientific point of view.
By agreeing with one thing that Mr. Simcox said, probably the last thing I say, I agree with it.